Hello and welcome to another episode of Transcontinental Overload. And actually, this might be the last episode of 2021. I am planning to squeeze another one in, but I don't want to make any promises. I've decided there's enough pressure on the pre-Christmas period, and you all know how busy it gets. And I'm grabbing little moments of time here and there, but I just don't want to hold myself accountable. This is my kind of gift to myself at this time of year. So if another episode comes out, great. If not, then this is the last one. And actually, if it is, then I'm going out with a bang because it's a really wonderful episode. I'm talking to the lovely Jenn Overstreet, an American who currently resides in Rome, Italy. And honestly, when I talked to her, I felt transported to Italy and the beauty of the place. And of course, we talk about food and the language and all those things that we associate with that part of the world. We recorded this interview on Thanksgiving, actually, so there is a fair amount of holiday talk in there as well. Jenn moved to Italy with her husband, James, 4 years ago, pretty much on a whim. It's quite a romantic story. They got married and they sold all their belongings, left everything behind and moved across the ocean. And after a somewhat rocky start, they found their feet in Italy, and together they founded a business, which is basically a personalized fitness service for expats. It's such a great idea, and actually, what am I doing talking about it now? Because you should just listen to the episode and find out all about Jenn's journey and how her own experience of being a lost and lonely expat actually helped her come up with the idea. And of course, I'll put all the links to Jenn and James's social media and business in the show notes. Enough said, here is Jenn's story. Welcome, Jenn, to Transcontinental Overload. So happy to have you.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here.
And of course, I have to ask because, you're an American, but you're in Italy.
Yes.
It's Thanksgiving.
It is Thanksgiving today.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you.
And it must be kind of coming up to dinner time in Italy. So silly question, but are you not celebrating Thanksgiving?
No,
or have you had your turkey?
We're celebrating. We're just saving it for the weekend. So the leftovers can last us during the week.
I love it.
Very practical.
But also that's also probably because it's not really a day that Italians celebrate. So it's business as usual in your country right now.
Exactly.
Keeping it for the weekend. I love that.
Yeah, we were flexible.
Well, I guess that's one thing that we become when we become expats.
So do you celebrate Thanksgiving as well?
We do. I was just talking to a friend in Portland, Oregon, and she was the one we celebrated our first Thanksgiving with when we moved to the US 11 years ago.
Wow.
So that was our first Thanksgiving, and we were like, what is this all about? And we have celebrated it ever since.
That's what happens. We adopt traditions and holidays.
Yes, completely. And so we have a mixed German, British, American household now. So we have to honor all the traditions and things, which I love. It's like,
so happy Thanksgiving to you as well.
Yeah, thank you so much. So Jenn, as I mentioned, you're American in Italy.
Yes, I am.
Let's go right back to the beginning. Where are you from originally, and how did you end up in Italy, and where are you in Italy?
So I am in Rome, Italy, and I grew up in Pennsylvania in a very small town, like literally cornfields in the backyard. So had never lived in a city before. I moved away from home to Delaware after college, and I met my husband there, and we took our first vacation to Italy in, I guess it was 2015, and we fell in love with Italy, and he has Italian heritage, so he feels some sort of connection as well. And we were swimming in the sea, like in Positano with the Amalfi Coast, like all, on the cliff with the beautiful homes. And he's like, we're going to move to Italy one day. I'm like, we're not married at this point. And I'm just like, okay, yeah, maybe like when we retire, like that is not in my trajectory. I had never even considered leaving, like moving one state was a huge enough change for me. And then fast forward 2 years, and it was a snow day and absolutely miserable. The weather was terrible. And I'm like, let me just see what's out there.
Italy
And
doesn't
so I
sound so
applied.
bad.
Yeah, exactly. So I applied for a job, and I didn't tell him that I applied for a job. And I ended up getting an interview, and
So
we were
in was that in Rome?
yes, yep. So I did the interview on Skype, and this was, 2017-ish. So pre COVID. So it was like interviewing on Skype was, a big deal. And I told him in the meantime, but we had already booked a honeymoon to Italy for the summer for 5 weeks because we were getting married in May of 2017. So anyway, I went through the interview process between January and March, got offered the job. He, in the meantime, got offered a different job, also in Italy, about 2 weeks after we got married. So we canceled our honeymoon. We moved here, and we've
been on honeymoon ever since.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh wow. So what's your background? What was the job, and how, was that like a real spur of the moment decision, kind of, I need to do something?
Absolutely. I work at an international school right now in Rome, and I have been in education for 11 years. And I was in a great school in the States, but we just started to feel like a little bit of an itch. We lived in a little beach town. Our friends were starting to move to the suburbs and buy houses, which is great for them, but that didn't feel like it was our next step. So here we are. And I'm like, we'll try it for a year, because I honestly didn't expect to get the job. I really did not. So when I got the job, I just remember being like, oh my God, like, we're doing this? So yeah, exactly. So like, even for our wedding, like we asked for, like, my bridal shower, our wedding, we asked for like no gifts, just because, maybe Airbnb gift cards, because we're in the process of selling everything. So
wow,
we had a travel themed wedding, and pivoted, and here we are. We eight suitcases, 8 suitcases later, and 5 years later, and
oh wow. So your
no plans to go back.
Sense of adventure must have just been like, this is it. We're doing it. Ready to go. No other, commitments and things. That's amazing. And your husband, in his job. So obviously, so you told him you'd applied, and then and what was his thought process?
He also is in education. So he had like reached out to a school as well, and never heard anything. And it was fine. We figured, for a year we can make it work. And then we were planning to go back to the States. But the school he had spoken to, like, randomly reached out and was like, hey, by chance, we have this like perfect position for you. Are you still interested? We know it's really late in the school year at this point to come for a September start. And he's like, actually, I'm moving there. So yes, it's fine.
Wow. That sounds like it was meant to be. Honestly,
a little bit of
destiny.
Happen,
that's just absolutely amazing. So yeah, but still, how long did it take so you got the job offer, and then you got married, and how much time did you have from making the decision to actually getting on that plane?
Maybe 4 or 5 months or so. I mean, it wasn't a lot of time. It was enough time to sell everything.
Yeah.
It was a little bit shaky over the summer, because I needed to arrive in August for the start of the school year, as did he. But his paperwork, and this was my first experience with Italian bureaucracy, his paperwork got hung up in an office because somebody had a death in the family, and that person was the only person who could stamp the paperwork. So they didn't know when this person would be returning to the office. So his paperwork was held up for weeks, and mine had got processed like the day before this person left the office. So he did not have his paperwork when he was supposed to. I had to leave. Like I had to get on the plane to come to Rome, and he was in the States staying on our friend's couch because we had gotten rid of
Yeah.
everything. We had gotten rid of our apartment. And I was so scared. I had never flown by myself, let alone across the ocean to a new country. And I'm an introverted person. So for me, I was absolutely petrified. I'm like, this is not how I imagined it. Like I can't, this it just, and I've been
Yeah.
dealing with Italian bureaucracy since then.
So
So
did you speak any Italian at that point?
like I want pizza. We had tried to take some classes just for
Mhm.
fun, but nothing ever really prepares you for, full immersion to be having like to use it. And of course, I
Mm.
arrived in August, which, as you know, in Europe is the
Everything shut down.
holidays.
Yeah.
Exactly. So Rome was also like completely deserted. There was not a single business open on the street that our apartment was on, which was the same
Mhm.
street as the Colosseum. So you can imagine that it's a very busy part of the center. And I just remember getting there by myself and thinking, where did we move to? Like, did we really decide?
Yeah.
Is it too late to get on a plane to go back?
And I mean, as we all know, all of us who've moved to live in another country, it's very different when you go. It's not your vacation, but it's actual life. It's like
Exactly.
instantly you feel different about the whole thing, and it's just, yeah, it's real. So, and then to do that by
Exactly.
yourself, oh my goodness. So yeah, I
When I
can only
wasn't
imagine.
planning to, I wasn't in the mental
Mm,
state of
yeah,
doing it
yeah.
by myself.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's so true. Preparing yourself mentally and then having things thrown at you that you weren't expecting. But that's, I guess, the first test of, a preparation for what was to come. Because I mean, that's what
Exactly.
expat living
Exactly.
is, isn't it? It's like it's unexpected developments and
100%.
issues at every corner. And
Exactly. And it really makes you resilient.
so you're there. It's Italy, like you hadn't seen it before, and you're dealing with having to prepare yourself for your first day at work. And did the school help you with in terms of finding a house, that kind of thing, or was it just
So the school offers a bit of support as far as if you want it for
Mhm.
finding an apartment, but we were pretty independent and knew we wanted to live in the center, so we booked an apartment before we got here and just hoped for the best when we when we arrived, and it
Mhm.
was fine for our first year. So
and
that
then
part was helpful.
and then how much longer did it take for your husband to join you?
So because I was so miserable that first week, I mean,
Mhm.
I was afraid to go to the grocery store. I survived on a pack of cookies that the school had provided as like a welcome, as part of the welcome gift, for days because I was so afraid to do anything because I was in such a culture shock, and it was
Mhm.
so different from anything I've ever experienced that I pretty much shut down.
Yeah,
And he
I
was
get that.
hearing,
Mhm.
yeah, it's the small, you feel like a small child who doesn't know how to do, absolutely normal daily tasks to as an adult.
And everything becomes such a huge thing. I mean, getting on that plane by yourself, getting off the plane, getting from the airport to the all those things. I so feel you. It's yeah.
It's
When
exhausting.
you haven't expected to have to do that, and it's exhausting, and then to be, yeah, met with the reality, and it's not. This is it now. I'm doing this,
Exactly.
and how on
Exactly.
earth? Who am I in this place? And yeah, because
Exactly.
you have to leave everything at the door, right? Who you were, what, you know everything previous, and all of a sudden it's, so I get the shutdown. It's oh wow.
And it
Yeah.
just I just wrote about this yesterday because it occurred to me that it was almost like a sense of mourning. Like I was almost grieving during that period because I really loved my life in the States. I wasn't running from anything. I wasn't escaping. Like I was very happy there. I had a good job. I loved the beach. I just had an itch for something more. But I don't know, my husband's into sports and he always says like the good athletes retire while things are good. So for us, it was kind of like we wanted to leave where we were while things were good and always have the good memories, to not look back with this like jaded lens.
Yeah.
So I think that beginning period, it was like this sense of grieving for this version of myself that I didn't know anymore. And also I wasn't who I was going to be. So it felt I was a little bit lost at the beginning. Absolutely.
I so get that. And it's crazy now, probably now looking back, you think, oh my God, it was only like a few days of just feeling like that.
Forever.
And at the time though, it feels like this is a major thing and you're just never going to recover from this. And what have you done? I so empathize with that sense of it's, yeah, like we said earlier, you don't recognize yourself anymore, and you question everything. You question why you made the decision, and you instantly kind of judge where you are and who you are in that moment. And then like years later you look back and you think, well, I mean, that was normal, you know, that kind of sense of, but if you haven't experienced it, I think then it's just such a shock. Yeah,
it can really rock your world. And luckily James knew that I was like, he could tell like I was a mess. I was not in a good mental space. And I mean, I was trying to go to yoga, but then the first yoga class I went to was all in Italian by accident. And so that was not relaxing. And just, I couldn't find the things I normally would do to reset myself. So they had told him, well, it could be up to another month. We don't know. So he came on his own and he flew here about a week later and was just said, I'll go back to the States and deal with my visa when I have to, since it could be up to a month. And as soon as he landed, within 24 hours, they were like, your visa's ready. So he got back. He was here for about 24 hours. He got back on a plane, flew back to Philly, dealt with his visa, and flew back within 12 hours. They like emergency processed it. So he did like however many transatlantic flights in the matter of a weekend.
That's that's intense. Isn't it
and
funny?
He says I'm high maintenance.
That's too funny. But I guess at that point, I mean, he was already mentally with you anyway. So
he was sleeping on a couch. I mean,
yeah. But still, that's such an amazing start to your story. Oh. And then I guess the good thing, so you both had jobs, so that was one thing off your plate. So that's great.
Not something we had to worry about.
And you know that as soon as you start working, then you meet people and you kind of slowly get introduced into living in Italy. So how was that? How were the first few months?
So the first few months, James calls my dark period because I still wasn't adjusting. Like I didn't realize that I was so type A until I moved here, because in America, everything functioned. If I had to go somewhere for an appointment, I would arrive and I would have my appointment at the time that it was scheduled to arrive. I never had to deal with public transportation. Like everything that I needed was available to me. And that is amazing that I had that privilege. But then moving here, I remember we looked everywhere for hangers, and Amazon wasn't as popular here in Italy as it is now, or in Europe. It's grown a lot in the past few years. So it wasn't like I could just pop on Amazon and order hangers. I didn't even know if maybe I could have, but I didn't know if I could get mail at our apartment. So when we found hangers, it was after like an 8-day excursion. And it was like the biggest celebration. Like, yes, we can hang up our clothes. Like that was a huge moment, but it was the beginning months. It wasn't until I think after we passed the holidays that I felt like, okay, I can settle in, because that was the transition wasn't easy. And I think it wasn't until I let go of control and let go of trying to, or expectations, I'm not sure what exactly it was, that is when I actually started to like really come to grips with the fact that I'm not on vacation and that I live here and that this is home now. Like I had to put both feet here for that to happen.
Mm-hmm. But I think and you mentioned earlier that you're an introvert. I think
Yes.
that just being ripped out of your normal surroundings, taken out of a country that you know very well, and you could expect things to work the way you're used to. And I think it's for introverts, it's a double whammy to be dealing with not only a new place but a new language and just a completely different system. And so I feel like there's nothing, when this is the first time you moved abroad, and I don't think there's anything that can prepare you really for how you feel. But you can learn the language, you can join expat groups and all that kind of thing. But I think nothing will prepare you for how you feel in yourself. Because even if you're this kind of adventurous spirit and you're like, let's do this is great, this is a new place for us, and a new, this is amazing, and everyone probably said, oh my god, you're moving to Italy,
yes,
the best, and you're gonna get to eat amazing food every day and all that.
Exactly.
And while you want all that to happen and you kind of expect it to happen, you can't, that sense of losing yourself is, I think, is something that no one tells you, or no one, you just don't know. You just don't know that's going to happen.
On social media, if you connect with people who already live there, everything looks perfect. Like, wine tastings in Tuscany and weekends on the Amalfi Coast. Yeah. And that's true. Like I mean, that is the life that I live. And I feel so fortunate. I mean, we went to the Amalfi Coast for a short weekend in September, but there's so much more there that isn't on social media, like the trips to the post office, or, dealing with all of the layers of bureaucracy, or all the trash that is scattered on the streets, despite the super high trash tax that we pay. Yeah. So there's all of these things about life in Italy and life in Europe, or really anywhere you live, that isn't out there, and that people don't often talk about, that I think is, it kind of, people back home, they do, I think, sometimes think that we're just on vacation, that it's not quite like that we've established a life here in Italy for ourselves.
But that's the hard thing, I think, is when you feel like you're so lucky that you get to live there and to have made that, and you feel, you should be really proud of yourself for being adventurous, and you live in one of the most beautiful countries in the world, with the most beautiful food and beautiful language and all that kind of thing, and everyone's back home maybe in bad weather, and they're all kind of stuff, and they were like, oh, I wish I could do what you're doing, but you're not feeling it, and you're feeling depressed and lonely, and you kind of feel you can't talk to them about it. Because if you start moaning about it, if you start complaining, no one gets it.
They're like, what do you have to complain about? You're in Italy.
Yeah. So that's hard, because that makes the connection to back home difficult too, right? When you feel like you can't really share how you really feel. You have to portray this, either you portray that everything's great and you just post all the good stuff on social media, or you say, I'm really not well, this is really, I really hate this, what's happened, I don't feel comfortable, and then no one will understand you, and people will maybe be in touch less, and so it's like you can't win. It's such a
no. It's definitely the greatest personal development journey I think that I've ever gone on, that I didn't plan for. You plan to go to college, you plan, if you pick up a self-help book, you plan to take something away from it, or you hope to. Moving to Italy, I didn't plan to change as much as I've I've changed, and I'm a totally different person today than I was in August of 2017. I'm
Yeah,
sure
and
you have felt the
and
same.
that's the amazing thing where it's like you look back on it and you kind of like, wow, I'm glad I've experienced this. But at the same
Exactly.
time, it does take its toll, and it's just really, I've found over the years, it really helps to be connected to people who've gone through similar
Hmm.
experiences, just
Hmm.
to kind of feel like understood, because
Exactly.
it's not necessarily your best friends or your closest family that understand it, and so you need
Exactly.
that new community of people who understand.
It's so true. It's so true. And I'm lucky with James because a lot of the couples that we know here are, um, often an American married to an
Mhm.
Italian or married to a European, which is which is a really amazing experience for us to have developed those friendships. But both of James and I going through the same things together,
Mhm.
and he is the opposite of me in the sense that he's an extrovert. He will yell back at anyone who yells at him, where I'm more like, oh, what did I do? I'm sorry, I jumped in front of you in the bread line. I didn't know there was a line. So in that sense, like, I feel like our relationship has also strengthened because we've really become a team
Mhm.
here, where there are some things that I will do and there are other things that he will do that I will refuse to do.
Mhm.
So it's I am also lucky that I don't know if I would still be here
Mhm.
in living in Italy if I had to go through it by myself.
Totally. Yeah. I think there's something really cool about being in a place that's not your home country, and being in a relationship where it's like you said, some of your friends are in a relationship with an Italian, and then
Hmm.
it's a whole different
It's a
way of
different
getting to
dynamic.
know a place. And it's what we've found that I'm not sure we could ever really live in one of our countries again. So we because we're so used to being in a like a third country where it's like we're this team,
Yeah, exactly.
conquering and discovering
Exactly.
together, and it's like there's all these things that and yeah, we're different, personalities too, we take to differently and approach differently, but at the same time there's not this sense of, well, this is your country and it's, this is not working, and you can't blame each other for
No.
anything. And I think
No.
so that's super fun. And yeah, so I don't know if I it's just it's a really amazing process for a relationship, I think,
Yeah,
discovering a new
100%.
place.
Mhm.
So when you say it, like he's an extrovert and he's like he doesn't mind yelling at people when they yell at him, is that one of the things that you would say Italians are doing? Are there, I mean, let's talk a little bit about Italian culture and
Yeah.
stereotypes, and are
Um,
there things that you were expecting, and there, yeah, that's typical Italian, and are there things
y-
that you just really didn't expect?
yes, I would say yes to both of those. I mean, I a lot of what I read was like Italians are so warm, they're so loving. They like will welcome you in your house and cook you this, 5-course dinner. And it depends where you are. It depends where you are because yes, it's true. Most of the Italians that we've met are very warm and very loving once you get to know them. We didn't have like our first meal with Italian friends until maybe like 2 years in because it
Mhm.
does take time to get to know them. And that's like anywhere, right? Like you're not going to go to any country and just be like ushered into somebody's house off the street. But I feel like that's a common thing that I was reading was like, oh yes, like they're just so nice. And it's true, they are very nice, but you're a stranger. So you have to build relationships like you would anywhere else. But I would say in Rome in particular, there is a lot of yelling. There Italians are very loud and will argue with you about anything. And I am not a confrontational person. Well, I am now. I was not a confrontational person, I should say, but I have really learned to stand up for myself, even just simple things like being at the grocery store and somebody trying to cut you in line and just saying like, excuse me, but this is the line and I'm in it, so you need to wait. Like in the beginning, I'd be like, yes, go right ahead. Like, I don't know what I'm doing.
But you're coming from a very polite, I think no one wants to, like, I've always found this, and this is, I mean, me coming from Germany, which is also much more confrontational, but or either the UK, which is much more passive aggressive. But I've found that the US, I mean, people are they don't want to make you feel uncomfortable, so you do whatever you can so that no one feels uncomfortable. So you wouldn't tell someone to stop doing what they're doing, because you'd be like, that's just not done. So that
exactly
been a complete shock to have to actually be confrontational.
And to just like really make it known that no, I'm not just like a straniera, like I'm not a foreigner, like I mean I am, but I also live here. So really that was hard for a long time for me to just really hold space for myself when I'm out and about, because then I would also, you know, try and speak in Italian and I would be like get responded to in English, which was super frustrating. Or I have long blonde hair and I felt like everybody was looking at me, and they probably weren't, but Italians do stare. So I went through a period of time where I'm like, I should just cut my hair short and dye it dark to just try and like fit in more. So and it was just really trying to figure out who I am. And I would say probably within the past 2 years, I've just kind of come back to myself, where I'm like, I am who I am. I can speak Italian, yes, and I'm going to speak it with an accent, and it's never going to go away, but at least I'm trying. Or I just have more confidence. And I think having that confidence, I'm also having less of these kind of run-ins where I feel like I might be taken advantage of, or, you know, I am getting cut in line, or people are just ignoring me because who is she? So I feel like that has definitely shifted, but there are a lot of Italian stereotypes that are true. I would say. Like the staring, like the loud speaking, and sometimes you think someone's in an argument when they're not, they're just having a conversation over like what's for lunch. But I will say that my Italian friends are some of the most like loving and generous and loyal people that I will be friends with them, you know, for the rest of my life, because they're just, once you're in, like I'm in, you know.
Yeah, that's amazing. It's such a nice experience too.
It is. And I'm learning so much about the world, and they are so curious about me and my background. And even today they texted me to say happy Thanksgiving, which was so sweet, like that they remembered and, you know, said that to me. And it's little things like that, but it takes time. I mean, it's taken years for me to have Italian friends.
Yeah. But I mean, like you said earlier, I think it just takes time to make friends. I mean, some cultures, I guess, are more friendly initially, and you kind of feel more welcome without expecting to be invited for dinner right away. But I think it just, to really get in and make those connections, it just does take time.
It does.
So it must have been really difficult at the beginning, like when you hadn't really established who you were in that new context, and then missing your friends from back home. Were there any other things that you missed, or that you're still missing from back home?
Is it wrong to say like Sour Patch Kids, like candy and junk food?
No, totally valid.
It's like things that I don't really eat that often, but because I can't have them, I suddenly really want them. Yes. I would say truthfully though, like I really do miss, you know, my friends and my family. Like I've only been back twice to the United States since we moved here. And because of the pandemic, it's been since 2019, I haven't seen my people. So, and, you know, I think we counted the other day, and like 15 babies or something have been born in our circle since we've been home last. So it feels like we miss a lot
Yeah.
of what's going on there, and it's harder to stay in touch, and because it's life moves fast, and it's not easy to check in with someone the same way you would if you see them once a week or a couple times a week. And it's hard to do a long catch up
Yeah.
every couple weeks or every month, or so I have to say that I do miss my people. In the beginning, I miss the holidays.
Hmm.
I miss like the Christmas decorations. I miss the going into a store and hearing Christmas carols, but I don't know if this is a good thing or a bad thing, but in Italy it's already happening. And I don't know if this is in response to just like more globalization of things.
Hmm.
And I don't know how to feel about it, but like the Christmas lights are already up, the music is already playing, and my first 2, maybe even 3 years, it wasn't until after the Catholic holiday on December
Hmm.
8th or 7th or 6th, somewhere in the beginning of December.
It's interesting, isn't it? I feel like it's doing it earlier this year too. And I wonder if it's because of COVID and because of,
It
people
could
are
be
just desperate for some festivities.
joy.
Just like kind of I know it's like in Germany they just cancelled all like the Christmas markets and things
Yeah.
again, because I mean last year, yeah, everyone, we
Again.
were expecting it, but this year I think everyone is so sad. And so I feel like people are just trying to celebrate as much as possible, as long as possible.
Which
But
is really kind of a beautiful thing.
it's people becoming more appreciative of it too. And I don't
Exactly.
mind it. And this is it's funny, I don't mind it this year. I don't mind all the lights being up and everything, where before
Mm-mm.
I would have been like, it's way too soon, and I don't want
Yeah.
to look at Santa's on lawns in October, but you know
Now it's
yeah,
like, you know
it's
what? Whatever you need to do to bring yourself
mhm. Oh,
some
it's so
joy, you
true.
go for it.
Yeah, so true. But then, I mean, celebrations and traditions and things, I think that's always something. I've found that I miss things more, or I'm more nostalgic about things now. Maybe I wouldn't be like that if I still lived in my country. And it's almost
Yeah.
like you become a little bit more, um, yeah, I don't know. Sometimes I don't feel very German, but sometimes I feel very connected to it, and more
I
than
think
ever
it's
before. And
something
it's
about the holidays, and I don't know if it's because as children, this is such a special time of year. Like as
Mhm.
kids, like wait, it's this anticipation, and
Yeah.
so I think the holidays makes us become kids again on the inside. And then when you are a child, you think of home. And I don't know, I'm sure other expats feel this way too, because I just think it's that time of year when everyone's together with their families, right?
Yeah.
And
So naturally all
we're
these
not
things come up.
always,
Yeah.
exactly, we're not always with our families this time of
And
year.
so I guess it's kind of nice then that you are with a partner from your country, so you get to
Yes.
celebrate the same things. Because I think sometimes when you have very different traditions, it might be much harder to maintain them and to kind of celebrate everything.
And you kind of carve out your own traditions then. We've definitely adopted some Italian
Mhm.
traditions, but I remember my first Christmas here, I was just devastated that I couldn't find stockings, like just a regular red stocking with the
Yeah,
white
they don't
top.
really, yeah, don't
and
really do
and we
that.
didn't yeah, and we didn't bring them. Like these are things that I never, like, why would I pack my Christmas stocking in August?
Mhm. Well,
No, I just
you never know what you're gonna miss. Also, that's the interesting
exactly.
thing, and that ties in with
Exactly.
the candy and all that kind of stuff that you didn't really.
Exactly.
You think I haven't eaten this for years, and so many expats say that actually, that they crave things and they never really used to be that bothered about. But I think, and that also ties in with the whole thing about childhood that you said, because I mean candy is a
Yes.
very that just, 'cause sometimes it's just the smell of it. You open a bag of
It
something and it
takes you
smells
somewhere.
and it takes you somewhere, and then yeah, it's so funny how we all have those kind of that like we just want to feel like a small child sometimes. And
Exactly. And I think that was the thing with the stockings, was that was
mm,
always the start of the holiday season, was we hung up our stockings since I was little. And then when I moved out, I maintained it. Even when
mhm.
I lived by myself, I just had like my one single stocking until I met James. And I remember just being really upset about the fact that we were starting the holidays and we didn't have
We did.
stockings. And I came home from work and James had hung up he couldn't find them, but he found red oven mitts. And he wrote with a Sharpie on the oven mitt, Mr. and Mrs., because it was our
Oh, I love
first
it.
married
Yes.
Christmas. And we have since found stockings, but I still have those. And he had hung them up just on the wall. And I just remember thinking like,
Now
all
it's
right,
Christmas.
it's Christmas and I can do, like, we're going to make it.
Mhm.
It was kind of like a turning point where I'm like, we just adapt, like we are adapting and we are creating something new.
Mhm.
And it's okay. Like, it's okay that there's an oven mitt on the wall and not a true
Yeah.
stocking.
Yeah. Yeah, that's beautiful. Does your dog have a stocking too this year?
He does. Yes.
Yes, he does.
Of course. Of course.
But yeah, it's the little things. It's so funny what we need and learn that we need.
Yes.
There's so much discovery about yourself that
So true.
you just don't know. And you learn all those things. And I don't know, I think I say this in every episode, but I kind of wish it was mandatory for everyone to spend a year outside of their home country, just to go
totally
through
agree
that,
with you.
just to go through that process. Because I mean, like you said, you'd moved like to a different state for college,
Yes.
or people move all the time but I think leaving your country is another step that just, yeah, I wish everyone could experience it. And
It's so true. And I didn't realize how big the world was, and at the same time how small the world was, until I left it, and not for vacation, but until I moved somewhere. And before, I didn't like, I mean, this is kind of embarrassing, or perhaps it was naive of me, but in America, everything is very patriotic. It's very America centric. So I never really thought twice about, what's going on outside of like my
Mhm.
own little world until I left it. And it really was enlightening to me. And not to get like,
Mhm.
political, but during the pandemic,
Mhm.
when the world was falling apart and I'm watching what's happening in America, and I'm like saying to my friends and my family, like, it's coming, guys, like get
Yeah.
ready. And it just is this sense of oblivion almost to
Yeah.
what's going on outside of, like, in the world. And I think just the way my global
Mhm.
perspective has shifted, like, I totally agree. It should be like you're a year in college or high school, like in that really pivotal time when your
Mhm.
mind is, you know, growing and shaping,
Yeah.
and you're getting new
Yeah.
opinions. Like, it would be life changing. It would,
Mhm.
I think it could change our world, truly.
Yeah, I agree. Totally agree. And the perspective, like you said, that global perspective and thinking. I mean, I just don't ever, it's funny. I don't ever just think of, like, what is it now? 12:15, lunchtime. At the same time, in my head, I don't think, oh, it's lunchtime. I also, at the very same time, think, oh, it's evening in Germany where my, parents are.
I do
It's
the same thing, and I
my
never
friends.
realized it until you just said that.
It's really, and it's almost like this just happens on a subconscious level. I don't even,
Yeah.
but I always have a sense of, yeah, like I have friends in California where we used to live, and that's always at the back of my mind. They're
Yeah.
2 hours behind me. And so the constant conversion of time zones is just, it's become part of my conscience, my whole sense of how I go through the day.
I do that, and I had no idea that I do that until
Yeah.
you just named it. Like, I am thinking right now, like, oh, it's 1:20. I bet
Mhm.
they're getting ready to have their
Mhm.
turkey. Like,
And it becomes so normal, and I think it's beautiful
yeah.
because it just you're always aware of other perspectives and situations. And yeah, I mean, obviously the pandemic and how the different countries dealt with it, and everything, that was also very interesting to see. And I've always found that in this country it's so easy to not see what else is going on. It's so
Mhm.
easy not to see the news, or because there's so many channels,
Right.
there's so many,
Right.
whereas in Europe you're much more in the middle of it. in
Exactly.
that, because and you're in an area where there's so many different countries close by.
Absolutely.
So
Just
you
like
have
you're
a
geographically connected.
so you just have that sense there, I think, anyway. And that's very different to being in the US. You
It's
can
so
just
true.
choose not to, you can just choose not to, you know, see anything else. You don't have to. But I think it's harder to be so oblivious when you're in Europe. As
100% true. I was oblivious for about 26 years. Well, I'm so thankful I'm not, because it has like, it really has
Mhm.
changed my life. It's changed the direction that my life is going
Yeah.
in. So
Yeah.
it's
Well, yep.
been
And it's
amazing.
been, so it's what, 4 years now you've been living
Yeah,
there.
it'll
And
be this summer, we'll be going on 5 years. Yep.
wow, yeah. So, and no plans to go back at anytime
No,
soon.
I told James, I'm like, let's just see if we can do a year.
Mhm.
And they add up.
They do add
Those
up,
one
and all of a
years
sudden
add
you've
up.
and then all of a sudden you feel like, oh, I've got some, I'm growing some roots here, which is
And that's it.
beautiful.
I mean, I have a Christmas tree that we like unpacked and hung up our Italian
Hmm.
decorations. And, we have furniture now. Like we have an
Hmm.
actual established
Hmm.
life here. But, as soon as you get settled, something new comes along. And that is, our business now that we've started. And it's just,
Yay!
again,
That's really
something I
amazing.
never planned to
Yeah.
do.
Before we do that, before we dive into talking about your business, I wanted to ask you a few more questions about Italy.
Yeah.
What would you say is your favorite thing about Italy? It's like if you just could pick one thing, one or two things.
I would say the first is just the appreciation for life, in the sense that beauty is appreciated. Like Italians will stop and just take in a sunset, or they will stop in the middle of the street to continue their conversation, or they will pause in their workday to take coffee. And it was even just conversations are held face to face, which really bothered me at first, because I'm like, I can just take care of this in an email.
Mhm.
But I've really grown to appreciate just this sense of life and this sense of enjoying the present moment. Like when you're eating food, it's meant to be savored. It's meant to be enjoyed. It's it's changed my relationship with food truly after living in the States. And I would say that. And then the second thing I would say is Italian summers. I live for Italian summers. They are just to be
What's
by the
different? What's
sea,
different about them?
to be at like a Italian beach club with the Italian summer, because the Italian summer pop music is its own genre of music, to have the same five songs all pretty much all summer. And there's just this sense of ease. Like, there's not this worry about work or this worry about, having this perfect vacation. It's just so relaxed and so like, it is the most present that I ever am when it is the summer in Italy, to just be at a beach club, hanging out at the beach from the morning until the evening, and then getting, an aperitivo and dinner by the sea. And I live for
Sounds
it. It's
sounds pretty perfect, actually.
as you look up your flights to Italy.
Oh, so true. Yeah. But so do you think it's a sense of, I mean, the summer, obviously we talked about this earlier, everything shuts down in the summer too. So people take
Mhm.
time off and it's a real
Exactly.
break. It feels like a real break. And that must be quite different um to the US and the constant rat race
Absolutely.
that we're in.
In the States, I was working my full-time teaching job at a university, tutoring, working at a gym, all at the same time, and not even to save money, just to keep up, because it is
Mm.
just this constant commercialism, this constant, like, if you're not busy, you're doing it wrong. And I feel like here it's a bit of the opposite, where like, if you're too busy that you're not taking time to enjoy things, you're doing it wrong.
Mhm.
Like, I had a Italian colleague who would literally come into my office and be like, "It's lunchtime. Like, time to walk away from the computer. Let's go downstairs and sit down and have a proper lunch.
Mhm.
And I was like, there was a busy period where I was kind of like eating my lunch and working at the same time. And he actually pulled me aside
Which
and
is so
gave,
typical and so normal in the UK too. UK and
exactly.
the States,
Yeah.
I think. Mm-hmm.
I always worked through lunch, always. And he literally pulled me aside and almost like an intervention was like, I'm worried about you. This is not healthy.
Yeah.
You need to come eat lunch outside in the sun. And this is like, it's cold outside, but he literally was like, and he was coming from a place of like genuine concern about the fact that I was eating lunch at my computer.
Mm-hmm.
So it's that constant coming back to like, really what matters, does it matter if I work 30 minutes extra today? Like the to-do list is always going to be there. Or is it more important that I take this 30-minute break and go sit in the sun and eat lunch and have a conversation with other humans face to face?
Yeah. It makes so much sense, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But sometimes we need to be reminded. So for that, I'm grateful.
So what other things that you don't appreciate so much where you are? Because we have to talk about them too, don't we?
Absolutely. Honestly, too, even him coming in to tell me that would have really bothered me in the beginning, because I would have been like, mind your own business. Like, I'm going to do what I want to do. So if I want to work at lunch, I'm going to. But now, like in the beginning, that would have really bothered me, because people are very, will tell you whatever is on their mind. And I still have to get used to, like, he's a friend, so it's fine, but I still have to get used to people who I'm not friendly with saying things like that. And then, I mean, it's still kind of an old school culture a bit, especially in Southern Italy. One specific instance comes to mind where we were at an Airbnb, and it was an older Italian couple who were the owners of the Airbnb, and the husband was telling James how everything works and where the keys were. And, we get to the kitchen and he stops talking to James and he looks at me and starts telling me how the stove works, how the oven works. And I don't cook. Like I never go in the kitchen except to eat. Like I don't cook. And like, he just, in his mind, like, I'm the woman, so I am responsible for knowing how these appliances work. So there's things like that that are still very present, but it's improving, that I do have to get used to, that I haven't.
I feel like that might be the younger generations are changing that quite a lot.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I guess, I mean, it's a slow process, and Italian women must be so fed up with it.
Exactly. They are. And it's not as prevalent where I'm from. So like, I would never have experienced that in the States. So when I do experience it here, it's always like, oh, right. I mean, I'm somewhere different.
So let's see. You mentioned earlier that you had learned some Italian before you moved to Italy, but then, and obviously now you've massively improved, but can you remember any funny stories, maybe from the early days of living in Italy?
I have learned to speak Italian, but in the beginning days, it was a struggle. And I remember at lunch, there was a sign that said they were serving, and I still mess up this word, but it was cavolo nero, which is like a crema di cavolo. And it was like this cream of cabbage, but it's very similar to the word for horse, which is cavolo. See, I still get it messed. I'm so like not confident with the words now because of this situation. So I thought that I got cream of horse. And I know like that in some parts of Italy they do eat
horse meat, horse salami, right?
That's so it got on my plate and I was like, and it was like this light purplish color, and I'm like, oh my God, like it can't be. Like I was convinced it was horse cream, and I was mortified about it, absolutely mortified. Like I don't know how I'm going to eat this. I'm sitting at a table of, my colleagues. Like I should just quit while I'm ahead. And finally, I was starving. So I mustered up the courage to whisper to the person sitting next to me, like, what is this? And she was like, oh, it's just like this veggie patty with like creamed cabbage. And it was just like this sigh of relief. But I literally thought we were getting served horse cream for for lunch. And this was like maybe the first week that I lived here. Like it was very, very early days. And I'm still like, have this residual fear of I can't ask for cabbage now at the market because I'm so afraid I'm going to ask for horse. And I can't get past it. I can't get past it.
I love it.
The language learning.
So let's talk about your business. And when you said building your life, and all of a sudden you feel like you're there, you have your furniture, you feel like you actually feel a little bit settled, and building relationships and all that. And then what made you? Let's talk about your business first, what it is and how you got the idea for that.
So we own an online coaching fitness business, but specifically focused on expats. And the reason is we are both very like I said, I wanted to get to a yoga class right away when I first came. Like yoga and fitness are my passion, and same for my husband. And that was something that when I moved, that was one of the reasons I feel like I lost my identity, because I had worked at a gym for 15 years. Like it was just something that I did. And the gym culture in Italy it's one thing I very much do not like. That is one thing I can say that I have not gotten used to. I'm not sure I will ever get used to it. It's different. It's kind of stuck in like the 80s bodybuilding culture, or the very elite spa gym, which is, there's not very much of a middle ground. Mm-hmm. And it's just, I really struggled with that myself. I really struggled with getting into a routine. I struggled a lot with my weight when I first moved, in the sense that I was afraid to eat pasta, because in the States there's like this pasta, this carb phobia, right? I mean, I've cut out whole food groups because that's what I thought I was supposed to do when I lived in America. So I really went a lot of years being like going through this guilt of, oh my God, I just had pasta for dinner. Like I need to go work it off, or I'm going to gain 50 pounds. Like, it was a lot of healing from living in Italy and learning like, no, Italians and the Mediterranean diet, like they're some of the healthiest people in the world.
Yeah.
And Americans are not. Like they are not the healthiest. Like statistically speaking, it's just not the case. So it really took some time though for me to come to terms with the fact, I mean, we eat pasta probably 5 times a week now, at least, but to come to terms with the fact that I don't have to restrict myself, and eating seasonally, and eating, local fresh produce, and just this whole, that was a big shift for me. I was so used to getting all the food I wanted whenever I wanted. Like I could just walk into the store in January and get strawberries, and I might find strawberries here now, but they would be gross and I wouldn't want to eat them because it's not strawberry season in January. Yeah. It's exciting to see the seasons change, and then like, oh, it's artichoke season now, or blueberries will be here soon. And it's just like, we realize like it doesn't have to be this way. And we are sure there are other expats who have struggled, not just in Italy, but just with we know from our friends, like finding a fitness routine that if you're not comfortable to go to the gym, or I was spending over an hour and a half trying to get to the gym by public transportation. Like if you don't have access to a gym, or if you are going through not being sure like what to eat, or if maybe you did indulge and have gained a lot of weight, like that you want to lose to feel more confident, because that's okay too. Like if to feel healthier and to feel yourself more like yourself. So we launched this online coaching business to help other expats find that for themselves, and to be there for them, and to give them, a workout program that they can do in any time zone. Because the other thing is, as us expats, we travel a lot, right? Like we are going to vineyards on the weekend, or, country hopping here in Europe, because it's so easy and cheap to do so. So really finding a fitness program that works on their schedule, that's not tied to a gym, and then not a restrictive approach to nutrition, like really teaching people how to eat all the foods they love while still hitting their goals, whatever their goals might be. So really, your mess is your message kind of thing. And it kind of took our mess of the first few years of living here and really coming back to ourselves to realize, like, we could really help other people.
There's a real need for that. Absolutely.
Yeah, like in this space. So,
and I love that's kind of finding a way back to the sense of who you are. It's because, as we discussed earlier, that just goes out the window when you move, and you have to kind of fight for, your identity again, and establishing that. And fitness and working out or yoga and all those things. I mean, wherever I've moved, that was the first thing I would do, is find a place where I could do yoga and find a teacher. And I've had great ones, and I miss fantastic ones from other places. And that's one thing that the pandemic, I think, really helped with, people actually not being able to go to a place physically, but then finding online. And I've loved being able to take classes with teacher, on the West Coast, who I really missed. And I couldn't, wouldn't have been able to do that here. Even a friend of mine trained as a yoga teacher in England, and I took her classes. And so, it was evening for her, and it was lunchtime here, and it's got me through the pandemic, because it's like, this is the connection you can make with. And so I feel like it really helped, so that the timing, that's great as well. Absolutely. Sense of, I can actually do this in my own time. I don't need to travel anywhere. It's amazing.
Exactly.
And I think physically, I mean, yes, food and cooking and embracing local cuisines and habits and all that, it's all really great. But for your sense of identity, being connected to your physical body and feeling comfortable and happy physically is such a big part of feeling great mentally too. It's just absolutely it's just a one thing. It's all connected. One doesn't go without the other, and you do. And I think, getting sweaty, or just learning new skills, or anything where you use your body, just is so good for the mind. I totally agree. I love that idea. And I think for expats, like you said, it's so hard at first to find that, especially if you don't speak the language. And exactly. It adds a whole other, there's so many layers, right, to finding that. So the other piece, like exactly like what you said, is the community piece. So we're also working on building a community of expats who can relate to one another going through similar situations, because you kind of miss that when you move somewhere. Like I really miss my home gym and my home yoga studio, and those people who I know, like, are my cheerleaders that I didn't have when I moved here. So that is the other goal that we have, is to cultivate that community. That's great. To know that you have people that might not be, in your time zone, but still have your back and understand exactly what you're going through wherever you are. Yeah. So where can people find you if they listen to this and they're like, oh, great, I want to join this. I want to try out the program, the coaching. And where can people find you? They can reach out to me at my Instagram, which is at Jenn with 2 N's, Overstreet, or my husband, who is at Street Fit Roma. That would be the best way. Just find us on Instagram and hit us up. We'd love to help. I'll definitely put that in the show notes.
Thank you.
Jenn, it's been so nice talking to you. And my final question, which I like to always ask people, and I know we've talked a lot about traditions and Christmas and all those kind of things, but
it is the season.
It is absolutely the season. Is there anything that you do, maybe food-wise or tradition, or anything that you do when you feel really homesick and you really kind of miss your people and your country? And, what is there anything that you do?
I would say the thing that I do the most, and it's probably just the comfort foods, like choosing the food that, like, whether it's French toast on Sunday morning, because that reminds me of my childhood, and then just reaching out and saying hi to someone I haven't spoken to in a long time and just kind of checking in. I would say those are the two main things that I kind of come back to when I'm feeling, a little down or a little like I miss home, and just eating something that has that nostalgia tied to it, but being, of course, mindful about that and understanding that's why I'm eating it, so it doesn't, turn into something else. And then, reaching out to a loved one who I maybe haven't spoken to, and
that's lovely.
Reminding them that I'm here and I still want to know what's going on in their life too. So
feeding body and soul.
That's the perfect way to put it. Yes.
Love it. Well, thank you so much for taking the time. And happy Thanksgiving again, even if you're not celebrating today.
Yes, we will be.
Thank you so much. Take care.
Thank you.
That was my conversation with Jenn. I hope you enjoyed it. I really loved how warm and authentic and real Jenn was, and so thank you again, Jenn, for being so open. I really enjoyed our conversation. So make sure you check out Jenn and James's business, Overstreet Wellness, if you haven't done that already. She is Jenn Overstreet on Instagram, Jenn with 2 N's, and of course I will include everything in the show notes. As ever, but not forever. I don't know where that came from. Anyway, I'm Steph, sending this podcast episode out from Austin, Texas. Thank you so much, my lovely listeners, for making time for me and my stories. It's so encouraging for me to see the amount of downloads and read some feedback. Keep it coming. If you haven't subscribed to Transcontinental Overload yet, please do so. It's available on all the usual podcast. Yeah, right. Is available on all the usual podcast platforms. I promise you, I haven't had any glühwein, but it is Friday evening, so I guess my brain's just saying stop. Anyway, if you want to be a guest on my show, please send me a note, send me a message. I'd love to set something up. Talking about glühwein, by the way, feel free to buy me one. You can do that at my donation website, ko-fi.com. That's ko-fi.com/TC Overload. Link is in the show notes. I would very much appreciate it. I think that's enough rambling on for this episode. I know everyone's super busy this time of year. I hope you're enjoying the pre-Christmas season and don't get too stressed out, especially if you're traveling. I'm sending lots of Zen your way. Try and stay calm, keep your mask on, and stay safe, stay sane, and see you next time.